Welcome to this grammar lesson. In today's lesson, we'll be looking at modals of possibility. So we use modals to talk about possibilities in the future or to make predictions. So when we want to express how sure we are about something that's going to happen in the future, we use these modal verbs. There are many different types of modal verbs, but these are the types of modal verbs that we're going to be talking about today. We often call these modals of deduction or speculation or certainty or possibility. Okay, so when we're going to be talking about something that we think will happen in the future, or to make a prediction of some kind, we have levels of certainty when we want to express that. There's 4 different types of certainty that we'll discuss now. You have absolute certainty. You could be very certain, somewhat certain, or less certain. Let's look at the modal verbs that are used in all of these 4 different circumstances. Okay, so with absolute certainty, you would use the modal verb will, won't, cannot, or couldn't. If you're very certain about something, you would use should, shouldn't, or ought to. If you're somewhat certain, you would use may or may not. And if you're less certain, you would use could, might, or might not. Okay, now let's use some of these modal verbs. The first one is when you're absolutely certain about something. So these are the modal verbs that would be used when you're absolutely certain about something. Let's have a look at this example. All local businesses will be closed by 3 p.m. So the modal verb will is being used here. So is there a possibility that businesses will be open after 3 p.m? No, there isn't any possibility. So therefore, in this case, the modal verb will is stressing the fact that there is no chance for any business to be open after 3 p.m. Another one. Customers won't be allowed to buy more than 1 tray of eggs each. So in this sentence, is there a possibility that customers could buy another tray of eggs or more than 1 tray? The answer is no. With the modal verb won't, we're absolutely certain that you will not be allowed to buy more than 1 tray of eggs each. How about another one? People cannot attend congregational prayers until further notice. Again, we're using the modal verb cannot to stress that we're absolutely certain that there is no possibility of people being allowed to pray in congregational prayers until further notice. Good. One more. It says, under the current circumstances, supermarket shareholders couldn't be happier. So it's stressing the fact that the supermarket shareholders are very happy. They couldn't be more happier than this. So again, absolute certainty. Okay, so one step below absolute certainty is when you're very certain about something. And as we showed before, here's the modal verbs that are used if you're very certain about something. Let's have a look at this example. To save money, people should use their discount cards. So in this sentence, it's stressing the fact that you could, and it's very likely that you could save money if you use your discount card. Another one. Businesses should not close down because government initiatives are in place to help them. So we're saying that it's very likely that they wouldn't close down in this sentence because the government initiatives are there in place to help them. So should not is being used here to stress that it's very unlikely for businesses to close down. One more. Once the summer begins, people ought to travel more around the country. Again, it's stressing the fact that it's very likely that people will be traveling around the country once the summer begins. Now we're going to look at some modal verbs when you're somewhat certain about something. So may or may not is being used in these circumstances. So now it says, fuel prices may reduce in price because of a lack of demand. So it's saying there is a possibility that fuel prices may reduce in price. Not 100% sure, and we're not saying it's not going to happen. So it's almost like 50-50. The next sentence says, small businesses may not reopen when restrictions are lifted. So again, we're stressing with may not that there's a chance, there's a possibility that they may not reopen after the restrictions have been lifted. Okay, the last one. Let's have a look at some modal verbs to express when we are less certain. Companies could increase our salaries next year. So in this sentence, we're expressing that there is a possibility that salaries may increase next year. The 5G network might close down due to the health risks it poses. Again, we're expressing here that there is a possibility that the 5G network might close down. Customers might not spend on non-essentials like they used to. Again, we're expressing a slight possibility that this could happen, as with all three sentences. Right, now it's your turn to practice. Let's have a look at these sentences. I want you to read the sentences. You can pause the video if you like, and fill in the gaps with any of the modal verbs that we've discussed. Pause the video and give it a go. Thereafter, we'll be going through it together. Okay, let's do the first one. We couldn't possibly make it for 6 o'clock. Can we arrange it for later? So what we're stressing here is absolutely certain, or we're absolutely certain, that we couldn't make it for 6 o'clock. So that's why we're using the modal verb couldn't. Next one. They should be here any time. Again, we're very certain that they, whoever they are, should be here or would be here at any time. Airlines may not give a full refund on cancelled tickets. So now what we're stating here is there's a somewhat certainty here, or some possibility, that customers will not be getting a full refund on their cancelled tickets. The last one. I heard Amazon might cancel all delivery costs for customers. Again, this is a possibility, not sure, so it's very low certainty here. Okay, well done. Now it's time to further practice by going to your books. Go to your Q Skills 5, Reading and Writing, Unit 6, page 185. Okay, now that you're on page 185, look at Activity A. It says here, check the most appropriate level of certainty for each prediction. So read each example and then tick the box which you think is most suitable in regards to the modal verbs that are being used. Thereafter, complete the whole exercise and then we'll provide you with the answer key. Here is the answer key for Activity A on page 185. Pause the video and check your answers. Okay, I want you to go back to page 185 and look at Activity B. It tells you to read each green business idea and write a prediction about the success or failure of the business. Then, write a reason for your prediction. Use modals of possibility in your predictions and reasons. Pause the video and complete this activity. Here is the answer key for Activity B. Answers will vary depending on what predictions you made, but pause the video and check and compare your answers. And finally, on page 186, look at Activity C. It says, you live in a large city and the only landfill in the area is almost full. So what is the future going to be like this in the city? It's asking you to write 5 sentences predicting the future. Each sentence should contain a different modal of possibility. Pause the video and complete this exercise. Here is the answer key for Activity C. Depending on what answers you gave, it will be different to the ones that you see on the answer key. But pause the video and check your answers. Okay, so for further practice, please go to your LMS. Thank you for watching this grammar video.